Today we would like to show you how to run the Center for Internet Security Configuration Assessment Tool, CIS-CAT, CIS-CAT. Would like to show you how to run that tool on a VMware ESX version 3.5 server. The Center for Internet Security produced a benchmark showing several security configuration elements for the VMware 3.5 server. And as part of the CIS-CAT tool, they have an XCCDF assessment benchmark toolkit to allow you to run CIS-CAT and evaluate your server against the ESX benchmark. The CIS-CAT tool version we're working with is 2.2.1, released December 31st, 2010, December 31st, 2010. Okay, we have on the screen ESX 3.5 server running. It's at address 142. We also have a PuTTY session to address 142, and we have a Win SCP session doing file transfer with that machine also. There is an account on there, admin01, and admin01 has a home directory on that machine. We have copied the benchmark, the CIS-CAT assessment tool as of December 31st in version 2.2.1 to that server. It's in that directory with the CIS-CAT full subdirectory. And we have the benchmarks, a variety of benchmarks. The one we'll be dealing with is the CIS VMware ESX 3.5 benchmark. Okay, so what we want to do, a couple of things you need to do to get CIS-CAT running on ESX. ESX is not a GUI designed machine, so you just can't run the CIS-CAT batch or shell like you can on a Windows box and fire up a GUI. You have to run the tool from the command line, and that's run by running this file CISCAT.sh. Now CISCAT.sh, when it comes from the factory for CIS, it looks like this. If we first, I'm going to change to the directory where the CIS-CAT tools are, and that's subdirectory under the bundle, and we have CIS-CAT shell there. And if I give you a look at that file, we have already modified it in its native form. When you get CIS-CAT 2.2.1 and you install it, the shell file does not have that leading path for access to Java. You must add this full path name. It's not in the default path, or you could modify the default path values to include this path. But there really isn't that much else that runs on Java on the ESX machine, so probably less risky if you don't put it in the default path search selection. So we manually added this user lib VMware Web Access Java REL release 1.5.016/bin to the front of this command that's normally in the CIS-CAT shell. We also modified the 256 because it was 512 memory. Okay, now if you experience slowness or incomplete runs, you can always increase this 256. So from the word Java on forward, the command is as it came in the shell. But we just opened this up with an editor and we added the path to Java. Okay, so once we confine Java, the other thing we need to do is to modify the command line on which we invoke this shell program. We need to run it from the command line, and the command will look like this. Of course, admin needs to run this as writes, so he has root writes. So we have to switch user and use a su command to invoke the bash shell, the born again command shell, and we'll run this CIS-CAT shell program that we modified to include the full Java path name. We use the /y parameter to indicate that we want all results, not just the pass-fail score results. We give it the /b flag to indicate that we want to specify a specific benchmark. Now this is something you'd pick from the GUI, but since we don't have a GUI, we have to specify it. And in the home folder of admin01, underneath the full bundle and CIS-CAT full, there's a subdirectory called benchmarks. And in there we find our CIS-XCCDF scoring tool that will run with CIS-CAT for 3.5. The 4.0 is coming out soon. And another thought, if you're modifying, 4.0 will be out soon. And the final third parameter, we do a /r to get the results placed in the home directory for user admin01. Okay? Now, with those two modifications, we modify the batch file to include the full path Java. And secondly, we invoke this command line using sudo in bash and calling up that modified script with the three flags -y, -b, and -r with the appropriate directories. Okay? And then the command should run if we give the sud password for the user admin01. The command should fire up and run. It should first tell you what its version is, 2.2.1. Then in this particular benchmark, we ask for about 4 metrics. What are your 3 NTP servers, and what is your syslog server? Now, default answers are supplied. If you just want to run it to see, you don't really want to test these 4 values, just hit enter to approve the default selection, and then at the 5th question, give it a capital Y to approve those 4 accepted defaults, or you could key in the numbers that are specific to your environment in those 4 answers. And then the benchmark will run. It will call up Java. It will run the CIS-CAT tool. The CIS-CAT tool will invoke the ESX benchmark XCCDF file that's in that XML file referenced above. Execute the tests that are specified in that XCCDF scoring XML file, and then produce a report summarizing your changes. And there's the HTML report. It was written to home admin, and then it gives you the name of the machine, localhost, local domain, pretty generic here. The report, and then the year 2011, January 22nd, and then a timestamp for when it was run. Now we can go to WinSCP, and if we go up a directory and up to the admin01's core directory and refresh that, we see we have a local host, local domain report. If we right click on that in WinSCP and click open, it will fire up the browser that's local on our desktop, and it will display the report. Okay. A couple of things to do. One, click on the allow the ActiveX control, and that allows some of the hot links to work in the report. Scroll down, you'll get a summary of the 9 categories in the report and how your machine fared in each broad category. And then a little bit further down is a detailed list of the 29 tests. Now, in this blue link up here, display all defined. You want to expand that, and then you'll get information on tests that were run. Some tests were run are just informational, they're not scored, but they do produce some results that you can evaluate, pass or fail offline. And some don't even do that, they just kind of repeat the guidance that's in the benchmark, because it's kind of hard to score BIOS from an operating system. You just have to shoulder surf the operator as the machine boots up. Likewise, like log review processes, that's a manual human process we can't really script. But we do repeat the benchmark element guidance and approaches there. And there's your finished report in ESX 3.5.